According to Amit's LinkedIn profile, and I suspect this page will be removed soon, he seems to have been working in the company since 2015.
Thanks to Resub Insomnia.
But the person who sits at the top of the chain is also called Amit. On the left here is Amit Choyan. He is the CEO of Fairmont Travels and he's the ex-director of Adrit Technologies.
Nice.
It's not clear why he's no longer that director, but he was until fairly recently. Indeed, Adrit Technologies still have Amit's email address as the contact email for the company.
Thanks to Bitsfiend.
Once this video is released, undoubtedly Amit will try to distance himself from this company. But the scammers were taking payments, and I traced the PayPal payments directly to Amit. This is a screenshot from their PayPal page. It clearly shows that Amit Choyan is the Chief Financial Officer of Adrit Tech, and his business was known by several aliases. Here you can see 24/7 Fix.
Jim's got him.
When the supervisors would log into PayPal, it was clear that their victims' details were also there. They would send invoices via PayPal, so I could
that guy
trace
got
all
fucked
of the
up there.
payments from the victims directly to Amit.
There's the Prime Paper Tiger
And
infused.
the PayPal account showed that thousands of dollars were being transferred from victims in the USA, UK, and...
Holy shit, this is all in a single day. All of that whole page was one day. Damn, Amit. Man was fucking banking. How is there this many, like, geriatric octogenarians that fall for this shit? That's crazy.
Australia. And don't forget that this was just one of 5 different payment gateways being used by this company. When the payments came off hold,
He's a
they were
prime bed,
transferred to
Resub
an
Jackson
Indian
and
bank
Revenge.
account. But Amit was very careful never to set foot in the scamming offices themselves. Instead, he would meet with the floor supervisors on occasions in his office in the main building. And it was in those offices that Amit masterminded some of the scams that his company would run. Here in Amit's office, he would invite some of his business colleagues. The big guy on the bottom left is called Anuj, and the other guy on the right is called Amar. Between the 3 of them, they run a company called cr1tikal Solutions, and here they're discussing some of the next scams that they're about to undertake. Fortunately for us, the only part of the building where the CCTV has audio are his offices, so we're able to pick up on his conversations.
It's like he installed the cameras in order to catch himself.
With the translation.
Classic
I've
Amit.
only highlighted the parts which are in English, so that it's easier to understand. The group
Thanks to
discuss
Tier
how
1
many
Ash.
agents they'll need, how many days they'll work, what sort of commission they'll get, and ultimately what sort of scams they're about to operate.
Thanks to the
Until
Resub
this
Frame.
point, they'd mostly been running pop-up scams, but here the suggestion is to run the refund scam and pretend to be Amazon.
So the lesser that people know of this, will become our job easier.
And not only was the work to be kept a secret, here they're discussing how they do the Amazon scam.
You will just connect it to the, I'm from the business department, you will just connect it to the technician.
The
Oh,
Amazon
thank you to 10
scam
gift
is
subs,
becoming
Komodo.
more and more common.
Thank you,
They
Komodo.
will
Appreciate
send
it.
a lot of bulk emails and pretend to be a billing department of Amazon. The order will contain the victim's name, but of course it's all fake. They just want the phone call. When an agent receives this phone call, they will try and persuade the victim that they've got a security or hacker problem. And the way to get around this problem is to go and buy a card. They will describe this as a security card, but in fact the victim would be buying a
Thanks to
gift
Prime.
card, the currency
Cleanup
of
crew.
scammers. If you're a patron of mine, you can hear some recent examples of some of the audio that I've captured. where
Yeah, he's
Fairmont
good,
tried
Foxy.
to Scam. And to the outside world, Amit appears like a very successful entrepreneur. Last year, he visited Germany and Amsterdam, Singapore, New York,
Oh.
Las Vegas,
Oh.
Bhutan, Chandigarh, Thailand, and most recently, Sri Lanka.
And then
the
even more
Fairmont
recently,
offices, he has
jail.
profound quotes from the likes of Steve Jobs. And this is his birthday cake, which features parts of Amit's life. On the left here is his black Porsche. He has a real one. On the right are some iPads and other Apple devices. In the middle, a laptop. And on the right
Yeah, I know what
side,
that is, Jimmy.
lots
I'm
of
familiar.
dollars. And to the
And
right
thank you
of
to
all
10
of
gift
this
subs, Dev.
is his
Thank you,
main
Dev.
Fairmont
Appreciate the
building.
generosity.
No mention of the secret one out the back. But all the time, his company are scamming older or vulnerable people.
I have MS, and I'm a nervous wreck, and I can't understand a lot, so I'm listening
Don't worry,
real close.
don't be getting nervous, miss, okay? Right now you're in safe hands, okay? That is the reason you're telling me that you won't live for the next year as well, right?
Probably not.
No, don't tell me that, miss.
I'm a diabetic, and I'm legally blind.
Okay.
Uh, and I'm pretty.
What the fuck?
Some of the phone calls that I listened into are absolutely heartbreaking, and that was just one of them. I have tried to report Fairmart Travels and Amit Chauhan via the National Cybercrime Portal for India, but this portal just doesn't work. You're supposed to receive a one-time PIN to a mobile number, but it looks as if that part is broken, so I can't even report the crime this way. Instead, and only because I know exactly where the building is and therefore which police service and which district is involved, I reported the crime to the Haryana police. And initially, when I submitted the report, absolutely nothing happened. I didn't even get an acknowledgement email. This was pretty much expected.
Okay.
I've never really had any response from any police service in India. So instead, I did something new.
Thanks to resub
I
Jesse,
reached out
underestimated,
to a
and
documentary
Dev.
crew in the UK
And
called
Fruniel.
Panorama, and I shared my material with them. They have
Thanks
much
to resub
larger
Lil Rock.
budgets than me, and they even had the ability to travel to India to confront the owners, and that's exactly what they did. There's a link in the top right hand corner to that Panorama documentary, and I'll pick up in part 4.
Really smart idea.
Those videos and the documentary went live. But to reuse Amit's favourite quote, this operation can only work if it's run by a team of people, and one of the most important people in that team is Sahil Garg. He is the accountant for this company. And I witnessed the operations managers making their daily reports on how much money they'd scammed the previous day directly.
Alright,
to
Satan, hope you had a
Sahil.
good day.
So I can now put together a picture of the key players in this scam. Top of the tree is Amit Chauhan, and he is the director of Fairmart Travels and the ex-director of Adrit Technologies. The people that he plans the scams with are called Anuj and Amar, and between the three of them they own 2 companies, Z-Core Solutions and CapNerds Venture. Anuj and Amar
some no use?
independently have a different travel company called
yeah, he is
Travel
Dino Man.
Matrix and a marketing division called A Square Marketing. They are also co-owners of a nightclub in Delhi.
Jim Browning's like a real-world version of
Amar
L from Death
especially
Note.
posts lots of this footage inside the nightclub on his Facebook page.
Woo! Let's go!
You have to wonder where all the money came from to buy a nightclub like this.
Wishing a very happy wedding, Mr. Fungus out here.
And so back to the key players. One of the most important people here we've covered is Sahil Garg, and he is the accountant for all of Amit's businesses, including Fairmart and Adrit Technologies. The co-director of
Easy to
Fairmart
sub
is
Q.
Asif Bhatt. It's unclear whether he
Have
has
a good night,
anything
Sonic.
to do with the scams, so I've left his face blurred. The 2 people beside him in this diagram are Asif Chowdhury and Amit Sindhu, both operations managers for Adrit Technologies. And finally, at the top of the diagram is another director of one of the companies that Amit owns. Amit's wife Sonia is co-director of CapNerds Payment Solutions. It's unclear what this payment solutions business does, but there is a similarly named CapNerds Venture, which is owned by Amar, Anuj and Amit. Given their track record, it's hard not to believe this is associated with scams. But what about Amit's main business, Fairmart.com? Is it legitimate? Well, in 2019, they had a plainly fake address. They claimed to be at an address in Delaware, but when looked at on Google Maps, it was plainly a residential area and
Oh,
not
rough.
an office location. But since the TV crew became more interested in Fairmart, they've now rented a different office address, this time in Denver, Colorado. I've been told that although they rent this address, they don't seem to meet there very often. But on Trustpilot, Fairmart.com seems to be doing pretty well. 80% of the reviews look like they're excellent, and only a small proportion seem to be poor or bad. But when you look carefully at these reviews, there does seem to be a bit of a pattern. Any of the good or excellent reviews seem to name every agent by name, and the good reviewers only seem to have ever reviewed just one company, Fairmart.com.
No, they were just so passionate.
Don't mention agents by name. The original promised fare is increased, and it seems almost impossible to get your money back. So although I can't definitively prove this, I believe that Fairmart.com are internally writing their own good reviews, and any poor ones are legitimate. But there's one thing that I am sure about, and that's that they pretend to be the reservations for Delta Airlines. They probably seeded their phone number to make it look as if they are the front desk for Delta. The following conversation was recorded in December 2019 and shows just how deceptive Fairmart will be.
Thank you for calling reservations. How may I help you today?
Let's do
Yes,
some
good
hug.
evening. My name is Randy. I'm holding a Delta Sky Miles credit card,
Mm-hmm.
and I have a challenge here. I wanted to use points to travel. I'm going for my residency for my doctorate, and I'm coming up short here on points.
I'm surprised he's not playing Pac-Man.
I was told by someone that
He's actually
you all
listening.
assist, for those, Delta Sky Miles card holders, that you all might be able to assist me with some points to try and book this flight. So I was
Okay.
kind of.
Sure, definitely. So what I understood here is you would like to book a flight using your points, right?
That's correct. Yeah.
Definitely, sir. I can assist on that. So, okay, how many points do you have, sir?
That's a good question.
Is it tier 1 first form Frieza?
So, to book this flight,
And the resub sniper.
That is fine, sir. I would love to check that for you. Can I have your Delta Sky Miles number?
Up until this point, this Fairmart agent hasn't given any indication that he isn't Delta, and he has no access to any systems which will allow him to look up the Delta Sky Miles details. So what does he do?
Okay, 921.
Mm-hmm. And can I have the password?
And can I have the password? He's breaking the number one rule of any customer interactions. No legitimate person will ever ask for your password.
Not true.
This is a sure sign that it's a scam.
People on
Even the
RuneScape
real Delta
do.
Airways would never ask their customers for their password. This victim is slightly taken aback by someone asking for his password.
Do they normally give out the password?
Yeah, of course. Without a password, you cannot log in.
Okay, hold on 1 second.
Oh my
Password on
god.
this one is-
How? He's not even
I
like an
won't play the
old
rest of
man.
this audio, but suffice to
He's
say,
going for his
this agent
doctorate.
wasn't able to log in despite having the right password, and there may have been security checks which triggered a blocked login. So even if Fairmart do call themselves a legitimate travel company, some of their practices are at best questionable. The reviews are certainly fake, and these practices of asking people for their passwords is probably illegal. I have passed on this information to the Delta Sky Miles team, and hopefully they are able to take action against Fairmart.com. So we're going to leave part 3 with Luke here on the right, chalking up just
Oh,
how
wow,
much
that
money
flew.
he's made on this shift. When he writes it up on the board, it should translate into a nice bonus for him. He, together with about 30 other scammers, have managed to scam upwards of $3 million from people all over the UK, US and Australia. He is employed by
Is it tier 1
Android
no cat?
Technologies, an offshoot of Fairmart.com, and they use common infrastructure. They'll typically use Ringba.com and cr1tikal for their phone numbers, again shared with their main business,
Thanks to the resub is
Fairmart.com.
Aragon.
And once they have scammed people, they will follow up on these scams with other ones. They will claim that there are yet more hackers or problems on people's PCs in order to get yet more money out of their victims. They will pretend to be other companies
Thank you,
like
Don Wing.
Amazon
And
and
no, I do
Delta
not.
Airlines in order to extract as much money as possible. So as Lalit goes into the side office to recollect his mobile phone, his company, together with hundreds of others in the Kolkata and Delhi districts, will be undertaking the same sort of scams day in, day out. And it's only when the police in India get serious about
Thanks
this
to Prime
sort
Minister
of crime
Gunru.
will something be done about it. The portal for cybercrime reporting needs to be fixed, and any complaints need to be followed up on. I can provide lots of intelligence for other similar scam call centres. But until this action happens, people here,
I
like
cannot
Luke, or
believe that
Lalit,
shit.
as he's really called, will be free to do these scams as often as he likes. And not only will he make money, but his
Thanks to
boss,
2 gift subs, Kit
Amit,
Kat.
will make money. So as we watch him leave the scam call centre, let's hope that some good at least comes from this set of videos. I certainly intend to expose these scammers for what they do, and if you wish to support me, there is a link to my Patreon channel below.
Alright, we're on to part
compulsory.
4.
I'll always make these videos free, but any support you can give me is most welcome.
Seems like
The
such a
very
good
last
guy.
part of this video.
Alright, and now the finale. Hopefully it ends with some kind of like crazy shootout, bombs, something wild. A fire, perhaps, maybe a tsunami. Like, I want this shit to go full Michael Bay in part 4.
In the first few parts of this video series, I discovered a scamming call centre who had CCTV. I was able to use their own CCTV to watch how they ran their scams. They had a secret office out the back of their main building where
Nice,
around
Sam.
20 to 30 scammers would operate on a daily basis. They would get bonuses paid in cash for scamming people in Australia, UK and the US. And they would run multiple scams. They would pretend to be Amazon or Microsoft and send out pop-up messages to infect people's computers. But it was only when I started working with a BBC documentary crew that the world had its attention on this scam.
Thank you for holding the line. I really appreciate your time and patience. My name is Chris Lawson.
It's starting to warm where you are.
Yeah, it is very hot here in California.
Thanks for Prime Dirt.
Bloody hell, I'll have to come over there then.
Yeah, please. We'll go to the beaches, you know.
That'd be nice.
The BBC produced this trailer before their documentary, and it had a huge impact.
We need to repair all the services which got broken, alright?
Yeah, I see that.
Sir, there would be a charge of $12.95, okay?
Oh, bloody hell, I heard that.
So let me get it done. Hey, why are you crying, man? You're a very good man.
Oh,
Why are you
no.
I suffer from depression.
crying? No, sir. Everything will be okay. Don't worry, okay?
Yeah.
Now, promise me you won't cry again, okay?
These pictures of scammers laughing at one of their unfortunate victims had a very profound effect on
Damn.
a number of people. And the CCTV caught not just the scammers themselves, but the boss, Amit Chohan. And by tracing the payments from the victims, it led directly to this call centre boss. It also showed him planning some scams and taking advice
Thanks to
from
resub
others
pile of
who were
excrement.
clearly experienced in this sort of fraud.
I hope you're doing well, Pile.
The bottom line, that is how we should measure our success. We don't give a shit about the customer.
And I was able to show a direct link between the victim's payments and Amit Chohan's accounts. And with that money, he was living a luxury lifestyle.
Yeah, he's on top of the world, baby.
In this trailer, it caught the attention.
It's
of
Amit's
quite a few
world. We're
media
just getting scammed in it.
organisations. The story went as far as New Zealand. So when the TV
Thanks, resub
documentary
villain.
was broadcast on UK national television on the 2nd of March 2020, it reached a very wide audience. And one of the people supposedly watching was this man. His name is cr1tikal and he heads up the cybercrime police in Gurugram, the location of Amit's scam call centre. And in under 12 hours from the broadcast of the TV programme, Karan's team raided the call centre.
Woo!
And they went into the right place. They went to the building behind Fairmart where the scammers were located. They also went to Amit Chohan's luxurious home address, and there they picked up some of his laptop equipment. Chohan was living in the DLF Magnolias building in New Delhi. The Magnolias apartment complex was a luxurious location. It overlooked an Olympic-sized
There's
swimming
a tier
pool
1
and
link.
had access to a
They
golf
give some
course.
crunchy.
And Chohan's rent for this apartment was 5 lakh or 500,000 rupees. That's about $6,000 per month. That sort of rent is almost unheard of in Delhi. And according to reports, the laptop contained the scripts which the scammers would use to dupe their victims.
Surely Jim was
They also
watching when they
uncovered
raided,
personal
right?
details
I'd love to
of
see the
these
footage.
victims, including email addresses, credit and debit card numbers, and checks written to one of the many aliases. So as Goel was giving the press conference, he revealed some of the critical details of the arrest.
Do they not have
It wasn't
handcuffs? They're
Amit
just
Chohan
holding
who was
hands.
arrested. Here on the right is Sumit Kumar, who was supposedly the accountant for this company. The newspaper reports revealed that Chohan and Kumar were both college dropouts, and that the police had sufficient evidence to press charges against both. So bizarrely, hand in hand with their arresting police officers, they were paraded in front of the cameras in the
Nice.
police station. So this is obviously an amazing success, something I never thought
Thanks
would
to the
be
gifts of
possible.
gangbang and no
But
cat.
honestly, I don't think anything would have happened had I just produced the video on my own. It really needed the extra media attention. But there are still a number of loose ends, particularly how are the victims going to get their money back? Well, there's
That's
at least one
not gonna
good
happen,
story,
I don't think.
because the person who was featured at the start of this video, who lost more than £1,200, has been compensated. But that didn't come through the seizure of assets. Instead, someone who's a viewer of my channel felt so sorry for the man who had been crying and was suffering from depression that he offered to return all of the money that was
Thanks,
scammed to
Resub
him
Ice Pro
from his own
Amusement.
pocket.
Oh,
I've got to keep the victims' details as private as possible, but Rory, on behalf of this entire channel, thank you for being so generous to a complete stranger. And police in Gurugram have asked anyone who thinks they may be a victim of this scam to get in touch via the email address on screen and in the description. But there was more than just
Brings the bits,
Chohan and
the
his
Weiler.
accountant involved in this scam. We had CCTV which showed him meeting with some of his business associates, and they were the ones who were able to explain to him how certain scams would work. And even though they had been caught
Oh shit,
red-handed
thanks for the raid.
explaining how those scams
Welcome.
would be set up, they still had the nerve to complain about the videos which had their faces and names already blurred on YouTube.
oh fuck.
So even though I'd been careful to blur out their details, they still wanted
Appreciate
to
the raid.
silence me, and it's understandable. So in a clear abuse of YouTube's privacy policy, they raised this complaint
Welcome.
against me. But I've done absolutely nothing wrong. None of their personal details are revealed, and instead I'm going to put a link in the description to where people can read more about these two characters. But that will of course be outside YouTube. The link will show the evidence that this pair run other scam call centres, and this is how they've got the expertise. Let's just hope that the Haryana police will also take an interest in these two.
And they should
But
fix
the
their
police
website.
themselves have work to do to get their own house in order. The official National Cybercrime Reporting Portal only works
Thanks
if
to
you've
Prime.
got an Indian
Smash.
mobile number. And not only that, you have to select the specific state because that particular
Yeah, it was a
police
fake
force
raid,
will
it
be
seems.
the ones
Wild.
investigating. Most people
Wild.
will have an IP address
Must
at
have been
best
Amit.
and will not know the exact region and therefore the exact police force to get
I just
in
looked at
touch
the
with.
name.
And it
Thanks to
doesn't
Tier
help
1
when
Walla
the
Walla.
Delhi police admit that it's a difficult crime to crack. Their system should help them. I'm showing a still from the Panorama documentary where they interview one of the police heads in Delhi. He said that very few victims come forward to report the crime, and well, their portal won't help in that respect. And it's also almost impossible to identify the call centre involved, and I totally agree with that. If more people were allowed to legally do what I do, I'm certain sure that a lot of these call centres would be uncovered and more arrests could be made.
Agreed.
But this is why I
Agreed.
do what I've been doing. You cannot tell from the phone number or anything to do with the caller ID who is behind the scam. You don't even need a physical telephone line in your office to run these robocall scams. And there are hundreds of these scam call centres throughout India, mostly in the Delhi and Kolkata regions, but also in some of the other major cities. I have reported to the police almost every one of the pins on this map, but until now, nothing has been done about it. So I'm hoping that this series of videos can actually make a real change in India, and the Indian police's ability to act on the reports that I send. I still can't encourage anyone to do exactly what I do because it's perceived as illegal. However, when the scammer connects to my computer, I can show 100% of the time that they were trying to steal money from me.
No.
This may not be a valid defense, but at least it will probably discourage a complaint.
Hold on, I can't hear you. One
There may
sec.
be some unexpected benefits.
What? I didn't. I've been using the same one all day.
Of this particular.
Huh? I don't know. I've been using the same one all day. I wasn't even home most of the day, so it's just been the same one. I don't know then.
Particular scam. On
Easy
screen
tier 1,
is
flawless,
rescam.org.
and the resub soaked.
Hey, nice to meet you.
And bearded wonder.
Welcome to Rescam.
And what does this system do?
I'm an artificially intelligent email bot made to reply to scam emails.
I'm anyone and no one.
As far as scammers
nice.
knew, I'm you.
And what this bot will do is...
I adopt one of my many personalities.
To continue the conversation of any would-be victim.
I waste their time with a never-ending series of questions and anecdotes.
So that they have less time to pursue real people.
So although
I love
this
that
website
shit.
is geared to automatically replying to scam emails, can you imagine a system which would trap those robocalls and keep scammers occupied with realistic conversations?
They won't know when they're scamming or getting scammed out of their own time.
Is the
It's
resub
bad for
fire?
business. Deleting a scam email protects you, but forwarding to
Me at rescam.org
protects others.
It's also kind of funny.
So because I've got more than 70,000 recordings of real scams, it may be possible through artificial intelligence to keep scammers occupied when they make phone calls. Obviously, these calls would need to be anonymized, and there are probably some legal implications of all of this.
Of course, Stove.
But in theory, they could be used to help prevent scams in the future. I'm currently in discussions with a US university to try and do just
Kid
that.
Boga, yeah.
Can we create an artificial intelligence which will keep scammers
There's a tier 1 Luke Rocks.
Imagine an automated version
Hey, there's
of
Kit.
Boga or Hoax Hotel. The conversations wouldn't be as funny, but they certainly will be realistic. But since I may never get to see these scammers on their own CCTV again, I'm going to leave you with a little clip with Sam here in the top right being called out by one of his potential victims.
Oh, that's exciting.
Thank you for calling technical department. You're talking to Sam. How can I help
There's a
you?
tier 1 Perry.
Yeah, what is your company name?
Oh, rough. It's left
so
channel.
The company name is Premium Technical Support, and
Yeah,
that is
shit.
based out in California. How can I help you?
Okay, Premium Technical Support.
I can't hear it.
What's your
Right.
address?